Very good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Day Affiliate Summit 2020. Thank you for joining us back. I'm your host, Shivani Agarwal. On behalf of entire IEMAI team, welcomes you once again. We have some super exciting sessions lined up for you all. But before we move ahead, I would like to take this opportunity to thank our session partners for this session branch. I would also like to thank our other partners of the summit, We Commission, Value Leaf, Microsoft, InMobi, AdPub.social, Edmatad, Select Sent Ads, Offer 18, Amar Ujala, The Indian Express, Celebite, and Nielsen. Without any further delay, let's begin the panel discussion on need for mobile attribution in current times. Here with us are our esteemed speakers, Mr. Ankit Saxena, Director of Indian Business Branch, Mr. Abhijit Banerjee, Head Client Servicing, Admitad India, Meghna Chhetri, Head Digital Strategy and Planning, State Bank of India, Mr. Satya Kiran, Chief Product Officer of Whistle, and Mr. Wilfred Tommy, Head Performance Marketing Business. We also have Mr. Rahul Karthikeyan, Head Director Marketing, Upgrad. He will be joining us soon for this session. Over to you, Mr. Saxena.
Thank you, Shivani. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for this discussion on the need of mobile attribution in current times. You have already heard about the panelists. Without any delay, I'll probably hand over to you, Abhijit, for a quick round of introductions, and then we'll dive into the discussion.
Right, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Abhijit. I handle the advertiser side of things at Admitad, client servicing, some people may call it. Been a part of the affiliate industry for the last 12, 13 years now, ever since it started. So, that's what I am. Thank you.
Great. And Abhijit, what do you do on a daily basis?
Crisis management, pretty much. I mean, the affiliate industry is all about being on your feet, handling situations as they arise. Yeah, some amount of planning and strategizing as well. But generally, I have my hands full, catering to various requirements of all types of clients and making sure things get done.
Awesome. Welcome, Abhijit. Looking forward to hearing your experiences. Meghna, over to you.
So Ankit, good morning, everyone. So I take care of digital marketing for SBI, and on a day-to-day basis, I think there's a lot of crisis management. There's a lot of strategy that goes in, and also a lot to do with ideating and people management, because as a part of our organization as large as SBI, we are not just dealing with one individual or one set of team. You're internally juggling with multiple departments, multiple products. Also externally, you're maintaining and managing relations with as many number of partners that you want to work with or associate with. So yeah, overall, taking care of the strategy, digital positioning, and everything to do from branding to performance for the bank.
Well, that's a pretty broad spectrum of things. Looking forward to hearing about all your experiences. Welcome, Meghna. Satya.
Hi guys, good morning. I'm Satya, Chief Digital Officer of Whistle. So Whistle is into B2B marketing, right? We have a mobile marketing panel which we've been built over the past 2 years, right? So this is funded by Value Leaf. We are a Value Proof companies. So I take care of everything, being business head, right from the product to sales to marketing. So pretty much everything, being of the founding team. We'll get to leaders gradually.
Awesome. Welcome, Satya. Wilfred, over to
Hi.
you.
Hi, good morning, guys. My name is Wilfred. I lead the performance marketing team at beautyproof.com. My primary responsibility is to lead all the digital marketing channels across all paid media, including Facebook, Google, Snapchat, TikTok, Bing, affiliates as well. The main objective of my job is to scale performance ads as efficiently as possible within certain marketing budgets. And of course, it's directly, a lot of my work is directly linked to driving the overall sales for the company.
Awesome. Great, Wilfred. Welcome. And the good thing about the panel that we have today is like we have a good representation across the ecosystem, and we also have companies at various stages of their digital growth. So I'm sure that we will get to learn some amazing insights from all you guys. I want to start with a very basic and simple question, but it might mean different things to different people here, given that you're all at a different journey in your organization. What, according to you, is mobile attribution, and why is it important for what you do on a daily basis?
So the question is quite obvious. Why it is important? Do you have a choice? With 80% of the internet traffic being urgent from mobile, right? Interaction being on mobile. You see a lot of innovation, all the companies which are now trying consumer experience, it's only in mobile, right? We do very less innovation for anything which is related to desktop, right? The new ad formats, right? Your interactive ads, video formats, all this is always centered on mobile, right? When you spend money, you're answerable. When you're spending so much money in mobile, right? So the attribution got to be in place. There's billions of dollars that is flowing into mobile ecosystem right now. And obviously you need to connect all the dots and see where it is going to. And there's going to be a future. It's going to be still massive, much more than this. So just a start of new experimentation on the mobile.
Absolutely. And, in addition to that, Wilfred, you said that you are also responsible for, the overall sales in the company. How does that tie, into the attribution piece? Like, how does that make attribution critical to you?
Right. So let me give you a little brief about mobile attribution. It's basically identifying the value of each touch point a customer goes through before engaging with your brand across the mobile web and the app ecosystem. Right now, how is that? Why is that so important for Bewgoof? Over 90, like even rightfully Satya mentioned, a lot of users are on mobile today. Bewgoof included, Bewgoof users included. Over 90% of our traffic happens in the mobile ecosystem. So it becomes absolutely essential for us to understand where these users are coming from, what type of ad formats they're engaging with, and attribute it rightfully. Now, when you look at the standard methods of web attribution, you have your cookies, you have your image pixel tags, and you have your tracking URL links. But none of these apply as a standard for attribution in the mobile ecosystem. So for example, if I'm running an ad on Facebook and a user is directed directly into the Play Store or into the app, none of these standard web tracking parameters apply anymore. And that is when the need for mobile attribution comes in, the need for device ID and fingerprinting attribution comes in. And that's why I feel mobile attribution is absolutely essential in today's time.
Yeah, you did touch upon, a couple of key points there, how it's different from web attribution. Abhijit, I'll come to you. But before that, I'd like to hear from Meghna as well. In the entire journey of those things that you do at SBI, how does this mobile attribution fit in?
So, like Satya and Wilfred mentioned, right? It's entire world being on the mobile, also identifying the value that you're getting out of various sources. But to put it in a simple philosophy, if I may, because Wilfred already touched on the technical part of it, so if I put a philosophy to it, the philosophy is to have credibility to the partners or the working with, right? So, which are the partners who are bringing you value? Which are the credible sources you want to associate with? And all the values will not be in terms of ROI. Everybody will not give you ROI. Some might bring you a repeat user. Some might bring you a new user who has not yet purchased, but a new registration may have been done through a certain source. So it's about identifying sources and partners for their specializations and giving them the due credibility for driving those sort of properties or those goals for us. So that's what I would call a source or a core need of attribution, and why it's needed in mobile is, of course, because everyone is on mobile now. All of us have at least one device, if not more.
Yes,
That's
absolutely. Sorry, you were saying something. Did I cut in?
no. I was saying that all of us have at least one device, if not more, and some of us, as we all know, maintain two devices. One for professional use, one for personal use, or it could be just because the network of certain service providers are bad. So, yeah, that's why it's critical to have mobile attribution in place.
Absolutely, and that actually, for certain services, those devices expand into, your TV or maybe your watch, although all of them are used by the same user. Abhijit, coming over to you, or from your side of things, being on a separate island, if I can say so, how does this look for you?
Yeah, an island, separate island, all right, but an island which networks. So, coming from an affiliate network perspective, so see, attribution is obviously very key to our business. And when I think of attribution, uh, I'm talking about attribution of transactions of sales, the end goal. Because as an affiliate network, the end goal is what we're mostly concerned with, and that is what we primarily work on as a model. So that pretty much defines the kind of revenues we do and how we perform in our business. So whether it's mobile, whether it's desktop, attribution is probably the most important factor for us. And when I say attribution, obviously correct attribution. Now, a lot of you might wonder that why am I here? I'm from an affiliate network. An affiliate network does desktop stuff. So this is we talk about mobile attribution, but the thing is, affiliate networks have been traditionally players in the desktop space, where our roots lie. But our role and position in this has evolved. We are also very much participants in the mobile space. We do possess a lot of mobile-oriented traffic. Uh, and therefore, all the more important, the mobile attribution becomes all the more important for us too. So what I'm trying to bring out is it's not just the hardcore mobile players for whom mobile attribution can be important. For somebody else, for everyone in the ecosystem, that's the criticality of mobile attribution in today's day and age. Uh, Everyone needs to capitalize on the mobile, you know, in the mobile scene, and in order to do that, attribution becomes a key ingredient of it. Now, working with different types of advertisers, handling the types of inventory that we do, um, having the right kind of mobile technology, attribution technology is something that can enable us to activate different types of publishers and inventories into any advertising campaign, especially when it comes to performance-based models like affiliate. There is a lot of publisher inventory out there which is willing to work on a performance model, but then the right kind of mobile attribution needs to be present for them to kick in. Um, Again, from the user perspective, like Wilfred said, I mean, nobody's tied down to a single device anymore. Today, I'm using my computer to browse an e-commerce website. A little while later, I'll use the same website through its app. Doesn't make me a different user, but how does the attribution work? How is that going to turn out? So that's another point where mobile attribution, like cross-platform attribution, comes in. So overall, yeah, it's absolutely key. It's the future.
Absolutely, and coming back to how I started this question, and some of the themes that you guys touched upon was obviously about ROI, driving sales from it, the credibility of your partners, and I think where we are at now today, even hearing from you guys who are practicing it on a daily basis, that it's not just about app install attribution anymore, right? It's pretty broader. It spans across metrics, and it spans across channels. Moving on to my to the next question that I want to discuss, pretty quickly, so that the audience can get an idea of what is it like to practice, in this space. What are some of the challenges that you've faced in the recent past that with respect to attribution, or with respect to correctly identifying which source or which partner is driving more value to you? I won't go in any order. Whoever wants to go first.
Should I begin?
So the challenges are multiple, right? As we all know, mobile attribution is still not in place, right? Just the cookie has been ruling over decades. We don't have it in mobile. Whatever is working on desktop isn't working on mobile, as simple as that. And there are no standard industry set rules for this. Like what works good for me, what will be bad for you. The way I see you as good, somebody sees you bad. There are different things. What I also feel is that as an agency, as a company, we are seeing a number of campaigns that we're running through. And these are all mobile first campaigns, right? Our focus is 95% mobile. We don't even target desktops in most of the cases. The attribution, if you look at a deeper problem, it is not the attribution to mobile. Within mobile, where do I attribute? Right? I don't have desktop campaigns at all. So my question is not about mobile versus desktop. Within mobile, where do I attribute? I have different touch points, starting from a basic SMS to a push notification to an email to display campaign. There are a hell lot of touch points within the mobile itself. Because as a user, I'm not even exposed to seeing that ad in desktop. So where do I really pinpoint the user acquisition? Right? So the traditional way of last click and first click and multiple touch points, they offer GNAN, they are good, but actually when you put it to work, it becomes very, very tough. Right? Because everything has you are first exposed to product or service by looking at a simple SMS, right? That's your first ticket point, you come to a landing page. And most importantly, when I see it is not the mobile app problem, right? When you have apps, tracking is so deep linked, you can have this entire journey. AppsFlyer will give you amazing insights, but there are still more than 60% of campaigns that run through landing pages. Right? There's no app here. Where do you drive it to? Right? So for me, the crux of problem is within the mobile ecosystem itself. Where do I attribute to the right touch point that drove to the conversion? Because everybody has impact. Right? All these touch points have created an impact before the final purchase has happened. So we keep a percentage for each equation is what we need to see. One simple analogy what I found is the one guy who checked into Taj Hotel, but checked out of Oberoi next day, right? So some ad bought you in, but you purchased by looking at some other ad or some other touch point or some video or some review, right? Because all these parameters will contribute, right, equally or unequally. You also to be just right. And more is like Meghna said, we also need to keep our partners and different creative, right, in this attribution.
You touch upon a really important point here, Satya, and the fragmentation within the mobile ecosystem. Like even if you're not going outside the mobile, let's hear it from others in the group and see what their thoughts are.
Yeah, I completely agree with Satya. Like you rightfully mentioned, a user goes through multiple touch points before actually completing a conversion. I find one of the biggest limitations is that because a user goes through so many touch points, we are heavily reliant on third-party app attribution providers to for multi-channel and omni-channel attribution, right? To understand what is the importance of each of these touch points. But if you guys notice that in this industry, all these third-party attribution providers have only a single standard of attribution, which is the last click model. And as advertisers, as marketers, as performance marketers, we all very well know that last click attribution is not the be all and end all of attribution. There are a lot of channels that help the first help the discovery of the product before the actual conversion. For example, a user discovering a product on Facebook only later on to go on Google search and convert, right? With all these third-party attribution providers, irrespective of the journey the user has taken, the attribution is always going to go to the last click, and we'll have no visibility on what has been the contributing factors before that last click. And I think that is one of the biggest limitations in the mobile attribution sphere today.
Good. So, I mean, the model that is available out of the box is something that has been a challenge for you. Meghna?
Yeah, so I would just extend to what Satya and Wilfred has already said, right? Yes, we have multiple things, multiple sources, multiple touch points within the mobile. Yes, most of the third-party attributions that we have are last touch, and that's not something that gives us a real picture of how the campaign has been performing otherwise. But I think one critical aspect of this is also integrating all our data sources, right? Whatever data sources you have in terms of analytics, be it your social media ORM, be it your CRM, be it your contact center information that you have, and also the user behavior within your mobile journey or app journey, and also integrating your app your WAP, and your web, to get a significant insight and bring actual attribution and give that credible information or credible source a thumbs up saying, hey, thanks for the effort, we got what we needed from you. That's a very, very large landscape, and that's something which is still a work in progress. And now, as we are moving away from cookie, we are literally starting from scratch and going beyond and defining things from point one. So there's a long way to go, but hopefully soon we'll be there as an industry, and we'll be making a mark of greater attributions and credible information being passed throughout all our channels. So yeah, integration, data, and insights amongst owned channel is also a big challenge.
Awesome. So we heard three themes, and then we'll go to Abhijit. Audience, the only reason that we are going to Abhijit in the last is because he represents, and the other important part of the ecosystem, and his challenges are a little different from the challenges that the other folks are facing. But if I were to summarize before we hear,
I have one point to add here.
Yeah.
So there's something what we see right now happening, new phenomena like ghost kitchens, like Zomato has Speak is ghost. So earlier, if you look at your URLs for landing page, webtool.com/ you can source in Google / it goes up to some 400, 200, 150 characters, right? It's practically not possible for you to have a migration of traffic mobile to desktop. You cannot type it. Now, the culprit or the utilities is web.whatsapp.com. Right? When I do only mobile targeting campaigns, I see 25% of traffic coming from Microsoft Windows. How it's happening? Because you copy that SMS into web.whatsapp.com, then start browsing for the system. Right? That was a deep learning for us when we had a experimental understanding why it is happening. This is user behavior. Earlier, it is not practically possible for you to type that entire URL in desktop. Now you can just copy paste and have a better, right? If you're doing women who is doing shopping for their fancy anything, right? They would like to have a bigger picture rather than mobile. So they just copy paste. And I see how come there are no Windows phones, and I see Ubuntu, they're not mobile phones. Where is this traffic coming from? And
WhatsApp is not even your partner.
You can source the Vizzle, and the traffic is coming from desktop. Web.WhatsApp, thank you. And also, we also started something now of shop along with your friends, right? Virtually, you all create a cart and get better discount because you share the code. Everything is happening on WhatsApp now, right? So traffic is from an alien source again. That's one thing I want to add. It's insight for us.
No, this is really insightful. Thanks for sharing that. And I mean, I was just summarizing it before we hear from Abhijit. I think we touched upon the fragmentation within the mobile ecosystem, right? And then Wilfred spoke about the attribution models, last touch versus, if you have some sort of a multi-touch model. And Meghna added a really important thing of how you sort of marry this data with all of the other, 5-10 different data sources that any big organization would have, and that would have customer touch points. With that, Abhijit, from your lens, what are the problems that you?
So interesting because I've heard everyone talking about how to get mobile attribution right within their mobile ecosystems. My challenge is to get mobile attribution implemented or integrated within my ecosystem, because that is seriously lacking. So my challenge comes 1 or 2 stages before the challenge. I haven't yet evolved to the types of challenges that Satya might be facing right now. So we talk cross-platform, and we talk about multi-device, multi-channel. Unfortunately, the affiliate industry hasn't yet moved to that stage as yet. For us at Admitad, an ideal affiliate program is a program where you get attribution, where publishers get attribution for sales, regardless of whether it's mobile or whether it's a desktop or anything else, WAP, whatever it is. Now, a couple of very good industry examples where this actually works are the affiliate programs of Amazon and Flipkart. They have implemented cross-platform technologies where transactions, sales in this case, get attributed regardless of platform. Right? All that cross-device tracking and everything seems to be in place here. Very, very popular programs, and it's not just because of the brand name, it's also because of this right kind of attribution technology, and this attribution technology has a strong element of mobile in it. Now, this is something which we're also trying to do at Admitat, but we come across a huge number of situations where advertisers are not willing to integrate desktop and mobile under a single roof. They're more keen on treating these two as separate things, running a separate mobile sales campaign and a separate desktop sales campaign. At the end of the day, we're talking about sales. At the end of the day, it's the same set of users who are possibly using overlapping across both platforms. So our challenge is, why must these be kept separate? Now, what I feel is that if we had the right kind of mobile attribution in place, then this marriage might have become possible, which would be good for everyone, because for advertisers, we get to explore different types of mobile inventory on a performance model. I stress on performance model because that's important. E-commerce, travel players could get more into this mobile performance-based inventory. I'm sure there are other factors to it as well. It can't all be about attribution, and I'll sort of won't really comment much on that. But from an affiliate network's perspective, this disparity, this separation between mobile and desktop is a challenge. We want to have everything integrated, but for various reasons we're not able to do that. Other challenge, and just take a couple more minutes, that we face, that advertisers, when it comes to performance marketing, they tend to be, or especially when it comes to mobile, tend to be very possessive about their users. So, and maybe I'm stirring up a hornet's nest, but advertisers are typically reluctant to pay for repeat user transactions, even when the last click has come from somewhere. Right? It typically gets attributed back to the original install source, or it's treated as organic. I don't know, but repeat user is always a point of controversy. So now it doesn't work this way on the desktop. On the desktop side, typically we get paid for sales, regardless of whether it's a new user or a user. In some cases, the commission or the payout that we get for repeat users might be lesser, which is fine, but it's never ignored completely. But the entire model is different from desktop on mobile. Now, again, from an affiliate network perspective, this is a challenge. I mean, why is what we keep asking, and I know there are reasons for it, and I'd love to hear about that. So, it's a sale. At the end of the day, we're generating some sales. So, why is a sale which happens on a mobile treated as differently from a sale which happens on a desktop platform? So that's one of our challenges.
You raise a very interesting point there, Abhijit, and I would obviously love to get everyone's input on that. I'll give you guys probably 30 seconds to think about that. While Abhijit, if you can just elaborate or give examples. You mentioned mobile inventory on performance model. What is this inventory that you're referring to?
So it could be existing inventory of typical desktop players. So the affiliate ecosystem comprises heavily of coupons, cashback, loyalty programs, and stuff like that. Now, we can debate about the merits and demerits of these models. That's a different discussion. Yep. Let's say we have these types of publishers. Most of the work that they do currently is on web and web. They also have apps. They have users for those apps. The same users might be using their apps. Unfortunately, because of limitations in attribution, because of limitations in how the lack of integration between the two, we're not able to leverage this inventory fully. When it comes to mobile. So although the top coupon sites have their apps, they're just lying there. They're not really being utilized to their full potential when it comes to performance marketing.
Yeah. Yeah, understood. I just wanted, for the sake of the audience to know, what are these other inventories that they can think about and they can tap into, and run a similar campaign as they would run on any other inventory. Coming back to your, the point that you raised about users and, there are ways to phrase this, maybe about re-engagement campaigns and, why a lot of times, why is it so different on desktop web when people are more comfortable with giving it to the last touch, just because user is a user, whereas on mobile, it's completely different. And I'm sure there are some pain points, there are some, reasons for that, that we have on the other side. So Who wants to take a stab at this one? Satya, Meghna, Wilfred.
So I'll go first. If I understand the question, it's basically saying why is it that a sales on a desktop is treated separate differently than a sales on a mobile? I think it shouldn't be, and I can't think of a reason why it should be that way, other than the point that these two channels are not connected internally in the infrastructure that we have at the back end. Other than that, there shouldn't be any other reason why a sales on a desktop would be separate than a sales on a mobile, because at the end of the day, if your goal is getting revenue out of it and you're getting revenue irrespective of whatever platform the user is coming on, it's going to your organization's bank. So I don't know why would that be a challenge. And yeah, the only difficult thing that an organization, that an advertiser might face is, the kind of attributions that they are using in terms of the tech integrations that they have done for the desktop. It's separate, and the mobile attribution system is completely different.
Okay, fair enough. And Abhijit, we have Meghna, who probably aligns with your view that it should be the same.
No, I just want to say one more thing. I mean, I spoke about the most obvious forms of affiliate inventory which can be utilized on a mobile platform, which I'm missing out, like coupon and cashback. But there's a whole world out there to be explored. I mean, this is what we know. I mean, content sites, news apps, utility apps. There are so many types of things who are willing to explore this model, but because of the lack of this attribution, they're unable to do so. So
Correct.
that's just the tip of the iceberg.
So, Abhijit, the thing is, I think the issue is with, as I started the session with saying the word credibility. If we are not able to give that credibility to the sources that we are actually getting the traffic from, it really doesn't make sense to venture into that sort of a partnership or do that sort of a deal if you're not really able to justify it to yourself or to the partner that why is it working, why is it not working. So that's my take on it. Satya, Freddy.
No, I accept with you, Meghna.
Yeah.
So from what I understand, when it comes to a repeat user, I can see two ways in which you will be probably paying for a repeat user. One is when you have a limitation in cross-platform attribution, and second is in terms of re-engagement. Since most of you guys already spoke about the cross-platform attribution, I'll touch upon the re-engagement bit. Let's say, for example, we have, let's take the Bewakoof app, for example. You're browsing through Facebook and you come across a few products and you just click on it and you realize that, okay, this is something I want to buy. Maybe I want to buy it as a gift for a friend. You quickly install the app, you buy the product for your friend, and then you uninstall the app, right? Because it's fulfilled the purpose and you felt like the experience on app was much better than the experience on the web. So you install the app, you did the transaction, and now you uninstalled. Now, say 3 to 4 days later, the same user comes across another ad, and let's say this ad is for a sale or a sale event, and maybe the prices are quite attractive. So the user once again installs the app. Now, in this case, what's going to happen is you're going to get two attributions, right? You're going to get two install events attributed to the same user, and it's in a very short span of time. So what a lot of advertisers do in such cases is we define something called a re-attribution window. And a lot of attribution providers allow us to, configure this setting. Right, so a re-attribution window is basically a fixed period of time which you will define and say that the user has to be inactive for this certain window before he is eligible for re-attribution. Right, so if I had set my re-attribution window in that case as 7 days, and the user has come and installed the app for the second time on the third day, that install would not be re-attributed, and that way I wouldn't be paying for the same user twice. So that's one thing advertisers do to prevent paying for repeat users.
So
No, I have a question here, Wilfred. I'll have very brief and normal as a layman question. When you're saying you're paying for two users, technically you're paying two different publishers who will bring that user, right? Assume Meghna was onboarded through publisher A, right? Satya bought this publisher, she onboarded with Bewakoof.com. When Abhijit is running a campaign, do you tell this publisher, boss, this customer is already on board through Satya with me? We never give the transparency, right? You are saying you cannot pay the user for the second equation, but how will the second publisher know that Meghna is already your customer? It's not possible. Practically, there's no way you can rule it out. I don't know that Meghna is already your customer of Bewakoof, onboard through a publisher called Satya. How will Abhijit know about it? Right? There are so many windows, so many opportunities for then she can activate a better sale. Probably she might have seen an ad at 20% with Satya and uninstall. Abhijit, when doing a campaign, what with 40% offer, she might win again. Acquired. So how can I do injustice to Abhijit now?
Right. So when it comes to affiliates, it's a little bit more complicated. But with respect to all of the other ad channels, what we do is we manage our audience exclusions in such a way that there is no possibility of a reattribution happening within that small window. But unfortunately, with affiliates, since we don't have too many levers to control, I see that being a limitation, unfortunately.
So also one more point here is the goal that you're driving. Here, you spoke of an example where we are talking about installs. Let's say the goal was sales, right? How do you not give them a attribution for the second sale that they have made? And also, that's why I sort of spoke on the data piece, because it's important to create these cohorts. Let's say a repeat user who is purchasing repeatedly versus a repeat user who's just installing, uninstalling, installing, uninstalling, which is a waste. So a cohort which is a repeat user of people who are purchasing the product is of much more value to me as an advertiser, as a organization, and I'll go and advertise more, try to engage with them more, and maybe that's where affiliate network would help me get better performance instead of looking at an install or registration sort of campaign where there's no control on what affiliate network is running in terms of the audience size.
I think it was amazing to hear perspective from all of you guys here. And if I were to summarize here without taking side or putting in a shameless plug about an attribution provider that can do all of this, is Meghna, as you said, the goal is important, right? Like with acquisition campaigns and re-engagement campaigns, maybe the setup is a little different, right? And at the same time, Wilfred, what you were saying was you can build an exclusion list, you can build a lot of that, but it's just the nature of the ecosystem which is fragmented on the affiliate side as well, wherein you do not have a lot of control. And then there is this whole behemoth of ad fraud that comes in picture in between, which I'll not dive in for because we are crushed for time. There are some questions from the audience, and I've been told that I can extend by 5 minutes. So let me see which one I can. Okay, very quickly, maybe on the advertiser side, Meghna, if you can address, Meghna or Wilfred or Satya, how do you evaluate an affiliate network, on security and handling of data? Like, are you concerned about your data? How do you protect that data going out to them?
I don't quite follow the question from the data going out to them.
Yeah, because there's no data that flows out. Technically, it's
no data. Yeah, there's no data that you're giving the affiliate.
So advertiser takes the entire data, right? He doesn't give it.
Correct.
Perfect.
There's no data that you pass to the affiliate. If you're running an affiliate campaign, let's say it's a lead gen campaign, at best the affiliate is giving you a dump of data which may be valid, may not be valid, may be junk, may not be junk. Of course, there are ways and processes and technology in place for you to keep a check on the affiliate network. There are multiple tools available in market which you can integrate with, run your campaign, affiliate campaign via those tools. Like Wilfred spoke about, the trackers, URL trackers. You can probably give them the URL trackers to run up along with the affiliate campaign that they'll run, and you will get all the numbers and all the informations and insights that you need for your campaign from the dashboard or from the tool you're using. So that's the best way to work with the affiliates if you are concerned about the fraud. That work with a fraud detection tracking tool.
Awesome. So that shoots the question, right in the head. There's another question, and there was a topic that I wanted to touch upon. We have around 3 minutes. This touches upon a topic that we discussed that we want to chat a little about, and the question goes: will the privacy regulations hamper attribution, and what the industry do to go around them? And I think this adds to the entire IDFA discussion that we were having earlier. Where is the boundary between personalization and privacy? And I just want to hear your guys' take on that as we close this in the next 2 minutes.
So I have one snippet what I see, what I foresee going forward. Mobile attribution just started, but it's going to collapse very soon, very very soon. If you look at the latest update from iOS, right? People say it's a black hole, right? You don't get to know anything from the iOS users, and the same thing is going to happen with Google. So as per the news is going on, it becomes very very tough going forward for the marketers to track after the GDPR and all this iOS updates. This is what I think. It just started, but it's gonna be boom soon. Becomes tough because you track virtually everything. You give 100 permissions to app, location, Bluetooth, your call records, etc., etc. It's gonna be a big mess. That's what I feel.
What are your thoughts, Wilfred, Meghna, Abhijit?
Yeah, I mean, idea is to initially work on the basis of opt. It was an opt-out feature. It's been made an opt-in feature. In order to allow yourself to track, you have to accept a very explicitly written message that yes, I want to be tracked throughout my life wherever I go. So I think that now that's happening on iOS. So yeah, definitely iOS attribution and the volume of data that you get to attribute will reduce. Question is what's going to happen on Android? Is Google going to take the same path as Apple, make it so strict? I think, and this might be a slightly underrated point, I think a lot depends on what exactly Google decides to write in that message. If it becomes an opt-in service, what exactly will they write? Will they be as explicit as harsh as Apple with regards to this or not? I think that can play a part in how things pan out eventually. I've also heard about, I'm not an expert in this field, but I've heard about something called a Google Play Store referrer, which offers an alternative means of tracking users or data or attribution without using stuff like GID. So apparently, you to track URL and timestamps and user interaction and stuff information. But all this will come from the Google Play Store, and that will be based on Google's own methodology of attribution, whether we like it or not. So I think that will make it difficult for third-party attribution and platform providers. So that's
very simple. Firebase is a good project. It's not even compatible with more than 20 partners. Google Firebase. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. I think we are over time, and maybe sorry, Meghna, Wilfred, you have anything to add in the next maybe 20 seconds before Shivani kicks us out?
Unfortunately, the answer is at least 3 minutes long.
We'll find another social way of sharing that. Thank you so much, Wilfred, Meghna, Satya, Abhijit, for joining us. Thanks everyone who tuned in today. I had a lot of fun and learnings, moderating this panel, and I'm sure you guys did as well.
Yeah,
We did.
Absolutely.
thanks a lot, Airman and team. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Good day.
Thank you. Thank you to all our esteemed panelists for such an insightful conversation. Thank you to our wonderful audience as well. Please stay tuned for more action throughout the day. Thank you.
Thank you.